everyone. Today we are going to talk about Cloud CMA. So to get going, there's a couple of ways to get in the Cloud CMA. One of them is if you have the agent bundle, you can go to agent services, and there's links, and it'll take you directly to Cloud CMA. And from there, it'll already be registered with your LAER email, but you will need to make sure that you have the correct MLS set up. If you have MLS PIN, you can go in very, very easily. I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And as you can see, this is the LAER website, the individual website. If you have one of these, all you have to do is sign in to the back end and you'll be able to get there. If you are in Beach's MLS, there will be a link to Toolkit CMA. And then once you sign in put in the company information and everything else, you will get the branding that goes with LAER. So the easiest way is if you are with MLS PIN, let's go to the search page here. The cool and easy way to go in is, I think I have a very slow internet today. That's why it's acting weird. But anyways, yeah, so still loading. Anyways, if you were to go in and say you want to look for contingent under agreement and solds, and you want to look in, so let's just say Chelmsford only, right? Oop. Hang on, CHELM. It is definitely acting weird today, guys. Yep. All right, so so with MLS PIN and with Beaches, once you have your account set up with either program, you can go in, you can pick and choose which properties you want to use, and you can import them directly into a CMA. Or you can actually just, like here, I'm just going to click CMA, and it should take me right in. And here we go. And I'm going to say launch. And this is what it's going to look like if it ever launches. Well, here's another tab. Here we go. So what it's done is I have two different MLSs. I have MLS PIN for Massachusetts, and I have NARIN for New Hampshire. And this program will, for whatever reason, always default to New Hampshire. So if this is the first time you are using Cloud CMA, one of the important things is up here on the upper right hand, you won't have your photo, but you'll have your initials in green. You click on that and you can click on account settings, and it's going to take you to your account settings. And it says my computer is thinking, but it's not going anywhere. Hang on. Let me just text Sergio real quick. Sorry about this, guys. We're just going to go and do this. Finally, it's going to switch. I just texted Sergio to ask him about my internet speed. Anyways, on your profile, the most important thing is Sergio says I'm fine. All right, so it's my computer only. All right, so the most important thing is the company name. It's very important that it says exactly what it reads right here, LAER Realty Partners. And I know we always abbreviate and just say LAER or LAER Realty. But for purposes of this program, it needs to see LAER Realty Partners in order to understand that it is to be branded with the LAER, everything that's LAER. If you are in Florida and you're with LAER Bowen, you still need to say LAER Realty Partners on here. And then everything will be branded with the LAER logos and everything. So, and with the LAER colors. So if you have that exactly like that, then you're all set. The other thing is MLS credentials. The first time in, you will have to put your credentials in. So if, say, like you're in Florida, you pick and choose Florida. If you're in New Hampshire or Mass, whatever, you pick and choose. And I'm going to, so as you can see, it defaulted to New Hampshire for me. I'm going to switch to Massachusetts right here. And then I'm going to choose which is my MLS, which is MLS PIN. And then here, I'm going to put in my MLS ID and my MLS password. Right. So if you were in Florida, then you would put in your MLS ID number and your password that way. And I'm going to click on update my credentials. And this is going to update so that I will be able to do a Massachusetts CMA. I could have left it as it was for New Hampshire if I wanted to do a New Hampshire CMA. If you are in Florida, then you can put in your Florida info. If you're on the Cape and Islands, you would put in your Cape and Islands login credentials. And as you can see, it still says that it is updating. I don't know why it's so slow today. It's pretty bad today. I don't know why. There we go, finally updated. All right, so now let's go back to CMAs. So if I was going to do a CMA, what I would want to do is you want to go to MLS PIN. And let's see how this is doing. This is still not doing well. Let's refresh this then. Continue. So if I was going to do a CMA with MLS PIN, I can pick and choose the properties I want, or I could download the MLS ID numbers and import them into here. So we're going to take a look here at this one, Tom Sellerman, number 17. We're going to click on edit, and it's going to take us to the front page. So whenever you do a new CMA, you always need to put in a name for it, who the client is, and then it's going to ask you for an address. So let me show you something really cool here. So I'm just going to back out everything here. And hang on, someone's yelling in the background. I'll be right back. Hang on 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so that'll be much quieter. I don't know if anybody could hear everything in the background, but I could. So anyways, back here. So now we've backed all this info out. What you want to do is you want to put an address in here. So we're going to say, let's say 12 Marina. Marina Drive, and it's going to give you a bunch of choices. I'm just picking I think it's Marina Drive, right? So maybe there's no 12. How about number 6, Marina? And it's going to give me choices. Let's say Drive, and let's say Chelmsford. There it is. There's number 6. There we go. Boom. and it's going to show that it's going to automatically import information from the tax record. So if you're in the New Hampshire MLS, it works that way. Same with the beaches, same with Cape and Islands. But you put in the address, it's going to pull the tax data in, and it'll automatically fill a few things in. So three bedrooms, 1 bath, 1280 square feet, residential. There's additional info here. It pulled in that it's a half acre, built in 1967. Taxes are about $6,000 a year. I believe that one has a 1-car garage, and the style is a ranch. So that's a good way to start. Now, the next thing to do is this one is what we're doing is we're editing a CMA that I had already created, and it has all the MLS ID numbers already imported, and you can either put them in this way and import the actual numbers, or you can import directly from MLS PIN. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this out because I'm going to show you a couple of things here. Is that you also have they call this a quick and dirty, and it'll do it by proximity, and it'll look for properties that are closest to this property. Now, if you're trying to do a CMA on a property that's inside a neighborhood, that's not a bad way to do it. The only thing that I did find, though, is that it searches for an area that's closest. But if you're like right on the town line, it will pull properties from a different state. But anyway, we're going to try it this way. And it'll get at least 10 listings, which is great. It's going to go back a year. You could say only go back 6 months, but we'll take a look at a year's worth of data here. So by checking this, it is going to go and search by location, whatever is closest. So even though this property is a ranch, it will pull in, say, colonials. I don't always check this box. If I did not check this box, it would pull in those that were very similar to what you were looking for. You can put in more criteria too and everything. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click on update listings, and it's going to cycle through, and it's going to pull up all the listings, possible comps for us to use. And it's going to go to the next page, and it's going to show us all the comps it's pulled. It's going to show us a map of all the properties. And as you can see is Marina Road is right down in around here somewhere, right? And you can see it's pulling in quite a few that are very, very close. Even pulled in a few that are way up and out of range, but that's okay. Some of the things that this is actually pulled up is, let me see if it pulled up. It may have already pulled up others that had already been in here because this is not a new one, but a couple of cool things about this one is what we're going to do is we're going to back this out. If you like using net sheets, you can put in a price here. And so I guess I had put in $619,900, right? And then you can even add in more stuff here. So it's going to give you an idea that here's a summary of everything. 1 active, 3 pending, sold 24 of them. It's going to show you the high price is $820, the low is $407, the median and the average are about $612, $626. And so it's going to show you all these others, right? And you can put in expensive. So say like you want to let the seller know exactly, you know, how much they should be paying out of pocket, you know. So like recording fees are about $400, right? And so we're going to save that. And it's going to create a net sheet. So like if it sells for $619,900, so their net right now would be $619,500. And then if you said commission, right? You could put that in and say, well, that's going to be $14,000, and we can save, and there's that. And then say there is tax stamp in Massachusetts, and so that's let's see, 6 times 424, $2,500, right? We can add that in. right? And what you're doing is you're creating a net sheet for the seller saying, when you list, there's going to be 16,900, expenses, and your net's going to be about 603. So there are sellers who really want to see this. And if this is something that works for you, use it, definitely. So, but in order to do a net sheet, you do need to put a price in here. You could put a price range. You could put in, say, 609 to 619, and it'll take the first number, 609. So here are the comps that it shows, right? And the cool thing about this program is you can import these comps automatically. You can pick and choose which MLS IDs to use, which I think already came in here. So it didn't delete any, but we added more in. But what you can do is you can say, you know what, maybe I think anything like as low as 407 Janet Road. Actually, let's take a look at this one. You can click here on the nets and adjustments. It's going to show you the picture of the property. And it says, ever heard of a diamond in the rough? Well, this is one of them, okay? So you can say, it's like, you know what? This doesn't really comp out to what I'm looking for. So I'm not going to use that property, and you want to check it like that. And then you go to the next one and say 9 Clarissa, right? Sold for 520. So let's take a look at this one. And you can see it's one of the L-shaped branches with a 1-car garage. And it's probably pretty close to Marina Road, right? So this one says it's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, about the same size lot, listed at 499, sold for 520. So say, yep, you're going to keep this one. And let's just scroll down here. Here's Judith Road, which is 1 street over, right? And let's take a look at this one. And you can take a look at that. And it's like, so that's a much bigger L-shaped ranch. And you might say, that's okay. Maybe I'll use that one. Let's go down here to, look at this one, 775 Dakota, right? Let's take a look at this, and you can say, wow, with the in-ground pool and everything else. And you say, well, you know what? This doesn't really compare to the house. But if you need to, you can always scroll through, take a look and see what else is here. But you can say, you know what? I'm not going to use that one. All right, so we're going to go to that. And so you can pick and choose which ones you're going to actually use. But there is something else that's pretty cool about this one. Let's see which one we can do it with. Let's uncheck the 820. And then let's see here. Donald Road's in there, but it's sold for 700. Let's take a look at this one. And let's see here. This one is 2-car garage. And it's a bath and a half and everything. You could make certain adjustments while using this program. You can add different notes, but if you come down here to adjustments, right? And you can say, well, Donna Road had an extra garage space, right? And so maybe, maybe that's worth maybe 15,000. So let's say garage space, right? And so Donna Road had the extra. So what you're going to do is you're going to subtract from it. So you would say minus 15,000, right? And you would save. And what it's going to do is it's going to make a marketing adjustment. Now, it's okay to make some of these small adjustments because you're not acting as an appraiser. You're not saying, well, the appraised value because of this is this, right? What you're doing is you're making adjustments to the marketing value. And so small adjustments like this is fine. So say Donna Road has an extra bath, right? And so you can say, you know what, extra bath, and we're going to say an extra bath would be minus 10,000, right? And there's no hard, fast rule. Every market area has different values, and you can see, it's like in your own market, maybe, a 3-bedroom is not going to be as popular as a 4-bedroom. And maybe you can make that adjustment just to kind of, what you're doing is you're evening out the market value. So we've made adjustments here. We've taken $25,000 off the sale price. So instead of selling for 700, it's sold for 675. But that kind of like brings it back down into the range of where maybe the property should be, So, and so once you're done, gonna scroll back up here and boom. And so now it's got, instead of 700, it's got an adjusted value of 675. Let's see, let's get rid of this 800 one here. Boom. And we can get rid of the 700 one here. And that's got, so that's not really a comp. So this is interesting. 29 Sandra, 5 bedrooms. It's still only sold for 615. Maybe it wasn't as in great a shape as we all think it was. So let's see here, 615. Actually, we could actually even make adjustments on this one too. You know what is, come down here and we can say, so 2 extra bedrooms. And maybe that gave, you know, remember, you're only making adjustments to the marketing value, not the appraised value. So you're not an appraiser. We're just trying to even the field so we can compare apples to apples. So maybe, you know what, maybe 2 bedrooms is worth 50,000, you know, so we can save, and that's going to make the adjustment to the price that way. Boom. So after you've done all this, after you've picked and chosen which properties you want to include, let's find the 450 Boston Road. We can get rid of that one. That brings it down too low. And everything is always subjective to what you think the market will do, right? When you look at this, it's like, does that make sense? Is that a real comparison? You know, is this really apples to apples? And it's always using your judgment to do this. So I've made some changes here. The high now is 721, the low 479, median is 605, average is 603. So I really actually did bring it down because I made some adjustments too. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click here and it's going to customize the report. And this is going to put the report together. Now, the part that we're actually doing right here when we're working on putting the report together is the traditional way of doing a CMA, and it's going to do it as a PDF. As a PDF. So someday, I don't know why my computer is so slow, or if it's the internet here today, I don't know. But I was having problems earlier too. So, but anyway, so once it picks and chooses, what we're going to do is, what we're really working on right now is putting together the PDF. That's the traditional way to do a CMA, is to put it together, print it out, have it bound, and then do a presentation. So on here, the way this is set up, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the proper theme set. Do you see how this says LAER Realty Partners? I'm going to click on the theme, and if you have not done this before, it might be set to say modern, I don't know, gray and gold or blue and gold or something, right? And you choose that, right? And you're choosing that, and you're going to look and you're not going to see any of the LAER branding, right? So there's 2 steps to make sure you have the LAER branding. One is going up here and to the settings, to your account settings and everything. And then the other thing is going down here to your theme. Now, one of the cool things about this is, now when you're not doing the branding, what you're going to find out is it's got a whole bunch of standard pages. There's nothing here about LAER, but then there's also other pages that they charge you for if you want to use, right? So you know you're in the wrong spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up here, change the theme, and we're going to click here. Now, if you've entered LAER Realty Partners correctly up here on your account settings, when you scroll all the way to the top, it's only going to give you one choice for branding. If you go all the way up to the top, and it's giving you choices for Remax or Coldwell Banker or Century 21, then you know that you need to go back to your account settings and put in the correct company name. So, and remember, it has to say exactly LAER Realty Partners. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to choose this theme, and it's going to update it. And you're going to see over here on the left-hand side, this has changed. So now you don't have the additional pages where they want to charge you for, right? Because all our pages are included. Now, over here are the different categories of pages that you can use. Anything that's not being used, any extra page is going to be over here and you can add it. Say here on the closing, right? All these pages haven't been added, but I can sit here and I say, hey, I'm going to add that stage in your home. I'm going to add intelligent pricing, why you need a real estate professional. Now, all these pages are going to be automatically added. Now, they're not going to be added to the end. What they're going to be done is there's a certain order that a default location, they're going to go there. But if you say, you know what, I'm not really sure if this is the right order. So you know what is, I'm going to move intelligent pricing up to here, and I'll take stage in your home, move that one up, or I can take this one and I can move this down. I can do whatever. Now, the other thing is if you notice up here on the categories, right? There's nothing about LAER, but if there are additional pages that you have not put in, let's remove the pages by doing the minus sign, and it's going to put the pages back in. And now you can see here is the category of LAER pages. And these are the 3 pages that you haven't used yet that aren't in here that you can add to it. So all you have to do again is just hit the plus sign, and they're put in, and they're put into a default location. You can still move these around. So you can say, you know, this LAER marketing and photography one, we're going to just move that up here. And we're going to take the LAER tech, we'll move that one up here. We'll take the LAER number, maybe we'll move it down here. Here's the title page. You got to remember you want the title page at the front because the LAER pages kind of default to be in front of it, but there you are. You're moving things around. And if you're not sure about a page, you can click on this eyeball right here, right? And you take a look and see what the page is going to look like. Every page that is with LAER, whether it's a LAER page or just a generic page, they're all going to be in the LAER color, right? And then on the other pages, like down here, let's go down here to time to sell, right? We'll click on this one. Look at this. Again, the LAER colors, if it ever loads. LAER colors, it's always going to have your name and the LAER logo at the bottom of the page, right? And this all looks pretty good. So that's the whole advantage of using the branding. So anyway, so now that we've got this, like in whatever order that you want to have it, right? It's all set, right? Now we're going to publish the reports. So, and again, there's 2 ways to do this presentation, right? And the way we just did it is the traditional way. So it's going to be a PDF. And now it's going to work to save all these pages, put them together. It's here somewhere. It's slow. So, all right. So let's see who's watching today. All right. Cass is on here. Susan, hi guys. How are you? I'm glad you're watching. If you have any questions, let me know. It is going to, it's trying to publish it. We'll see. We'll see if it makes it. So a couple of things too is like, you know, if you're doing a CMA and you have a picture of the house, you can upload the photo and use that in here. And you can even make a flyer for that property. I'm going to click here on say, make the flyer, and you put in your client's name, you put in the address or the MLS ID number. If it's something that's already been on before, you can put the MLS ID number in there, and you can create that flyer. All right, so our CMA is ready. And so the traditional way is the PDF. So I'm going to click on the PDF. I'm going to show you. So with this, you can take it to your office, print it out on one of the color printers, have the admin bind it for you, so for your presentation. But this is what it looks like. And as you can see, it's all beautiful. It's all LAER colors. It's got all this information. It's got the LAER logo everywhere. And then when you get to the more specific pages, it's going to have your information at the bottom of every page. Now let's get down here. Yep, see, here we go. So it'll have all your information at the bottom with the LAER logo on each and every page. And so here's everything about it. And then here is the CMA. So the traditional CMA is really pretty good. It's going to show you a map of all the properties that we're using. And it's going to have the actual sold price, right? But it's also, because we made adjustments, it's also going to have the adjusted price over here. And we come down here, and 14 Temi Road at 479, probably in rough shape then. That's the only active one in that area. But here is the list of all the sold properties. And it's going to tell you, what the average square footage is, the average price per square foot, but it's also going to show you the adjusted price. So our original pricing average was 607. With the adjustments we made, it brought it down to 603. Not a huge difference, but just know that that tool is there for you to use, right? And so here's the pending. So it's got a really nice list. Now, when presenting the actual listings in the CMA, you have a couple of choices on how you want to do it. You can have it like I have. So the first two photos are going to be here, and then all the information. But you could do it so a photo and a map, and you can click on the photo, I guess. But let's see here. Boom. Hopefully, there we go. We're back. Okay, so let's scroll down. So a couple of ways of having these presented is, and then two photos, and then all the info, and then scroll down. And then I also have it selected that I have the next 12 photos are included on the CMA. I mean, it adds extra pages, but it's good because sometimes, like, here's an agent, their first two photos were the front of the house from different distances. It doesn't give you too much information. So that's why it's important to use the additional photos. And you can see how it has a old-fashioned kitchen. Yay. This one's not bad. It's got the picture of the house, and then a drone shot, and then all the indoor photos. This is a good one here. It's got the front and it's got the back. So it's showing the different features and all the 12 photos. Quite often though, you'll see that agents will use the first two photos. Here's an example. Here's the front with the driveway. So that's why you need the extra photos. But anyway, so the whole presentation is great. And the other thing too, by the way, is every page, again, has your information, has the LAER colors on the bottom. And we're just going to keep scrolling down here. Somewhere here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, here we go. Here's all the analytics, which is great. So now, because we did some price adjustments, it's going to show what some of the price adjustments are in here. So the properties that we chose, we didn't make huge changes, even though like one property, we dropped the price by 50,000, but with all the other properties that were on the market, right, it really didn't make that much of a difference. But just know that that is a tool that is there that you can use. And so it's going to show you what the price without adjustment is, what the price with adjustment is, the difference in price and square footage, price per square foot. Here's active and pending. And then here is one page that you can decide whether or not you want to use. In this case, I would use it for Chelmsford. Basically, it's going to show that everybody says, oh, my Z estimate is this or that, or Zillow says my house is worth that. What you can do here is you can show, look, in Chelmsford, it can be off by up to $28,000. So the Z estimate in Chelmsford has always been way out of whack. And so this is a good thing to have, this page to have. You can show the differences, like, let's see, some of these prices are kind of close, but others are way out of whack. So this one sold for 700. Zillow said it should be 712. Well, Zillow was wrong. So, and it's up to you whether you want to use this or not. So this is going to sold property analysis. We're going to show overall in Chelmsford for the properties we chose. The average was 102% of the asking price and on the market for only 12 days. As you keep going down, suggested price, we put in 619 as a suggested price, and it's going to show you what the average sold, average asking, pending, everything else. And here is that net sheet that we worked on to show the seller how much they're going to get. This one is an interesting one. This shows you the original asking price compared to the final asking price compared to the sale price, right? And it shows you what kind of price changes there were. So it's a good one. This one is going to show you the average price per square foot. And as you can see, almost everything is sort of kind of in the central area, which is good. It doesn't always work out that way, but this is a good page here, intelligent pricing and timing. So there's a lot of extra pages you can put into the end that give you an extra ability to talk about the market, talk about how the proper pricing is going to help. You know, you can, you know, this graph right here is very good to show that, you know, what is, you know, proper pricing at the market value, you're going to get so many buyers. If you price it 10% up, you're going to lose a certain percentage of your buyers. You price too high, you're going to get even fewer. And if you price too low, you're going to get more buyers, of course. And with this market is like, if you price just a little bit under market, you're going to get way above market. So that's the way that market's been going. So here also is, this is an important graph showing that you get the most activity when you first go on the market. People are going to be looking at the property. People who are already in the market looking at the property are going to be looking at it. But as you go on, after a while, only new people coming into the market are going to be looking at your property. So. And even if you have a price change, you know what, people aren't going to remember the price. They just have it in their mind that it was overpriced. So more information, and then you can also add in your testimonials too. So this is the traditional version of your CMA, so that it's a PDF that you can print out on the color printer, have it bound, go in front of the seller and do the presentation that way. This program is pretty cool because it also has a live version that is pretty neat. So the live version, you can access it on your tablet so that you're going to meet with the seller directly and have your tablet in front of them and just kind of scroll through and show them everything. And as you can see, it has all the LAER pages already. The LAER marketing plan, which is that 20-point plan that you can actually edit and customize. So here is like the plan, and as these pages, as you got it in front of your tablet, you can go through it, but you can also click here and say, you know what, this is what makes me different, the neighborhood open house invitations. You can highlight different things. And then down here are your the ways to go to the next page, to the next section, top places to work, LAER tech, what is a CMA, right? Keep going. And then when you get to the properties, this part is pretty neat, right? Where is like, you can scroll through the properties this way, right? You can see them all, click them that way, but you can go scroll down, you can see a little bit more information. And you can see, like, you know, this one sold for 105 of the asking price. We didn't make any adjustments on there, but it was on the market for 5 days. And it was like nice looking ranch. Everything else sold for 600. If you wanted to, you can click on this and you can get even more information. So you can show the seller and say, yeah, well, this one was at 600, but you can see, you know what, it had a fairly new kitchen, hardwood floors, and you have shag carpet. That's why we're not pricing yours at 600, whatever you want to do, right? But the information is there for you to present to them. And then it also has, you know, 4 bedrooms, built in 1962, half acre, more information here. You can even make price adjustments on the fly. And so this one had an extra bedroom, right? And so maybe to even the marketing field, right? Say, you know what, that extra bedroom must be worth what, 15,000 maybe, and boom, and you can make that adjustment that way. Let's see here, hang on, boom, boom, there we are. And so the adjusted price would be 585 instead of 600. Whatever works for you, in order for you to get the listing, that's the important part. And again, you can also, you know, make these marks like that. And then you can go up to the next property, 33 Dunstan Road. Here we go. Nice looking deck on that house. There we go. This is the one with 2 front photos. But as you scroll through, actually, let's go back to that one. I was going to say on Linwood. Here we go. We can go through it. Now you can see, oh, see, it's got a really nice looking kitchen, lots of hardwood floors, and everything else. And that's sold for 600 in 5 days. Anyway, so this is all part of your presentation. And the great thing is like you have this on your tablet, so you can just kind of scroll through with the seller as you're talking to them. So let's see here. Next, let's go back to average square feet. So here are more graphs, more analytics for you to take a look at, for you to analyze, so that you can talk intelligently to the seller about them, what it means and everything. Here's the average pricing. And truth is, people love graphs. So if you have a graph, show it to them, and you can say, hey, you know what, here's the average pricing, here's where it was. There's quite a few that were right around that average, and then there was a couple that were below, and then a couple that were way above. And the other cool thing is, because this is all interactive, you can click here and you can see what the property was, right? And even while you are doing the CMA and everything, you can say, you know what, let's do a split entry with a 2-car garage. That doesn't really compare. So we're not going to include that on the CMA, and that actually will change the averages and everything. So, and there's the pending, there's the actives, and then we go to the next page. And again, this is the Z estimate showing that 28,000, it was off by 28,000. So it's always up to you whether to use it or not. And then a time to sell. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. And here's these graphs again with the marketing and everything else, how the commission split. Here's that net sheet. And the cool thing about this is that you can even edit this and add or subtract different things, right? So, so all of this is really awesome. And this is the live view. Now, so what you need to do first is you want to put the CMA together for the traditional view, and it will automatically pull most of the pages from there. But you can say, you know what, for the live view, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click on the 3 bars. Sometimes people call that the hamburger, right? Click on there and you can see this. These are all the pages that are in there. If you click on it, it's going to take you right to that page, right? These are all the pages that are in this presentation, but you come down here, you can say customize. And what you can do here now then is you can say, oh, I want to show this page. I don't want to show that one. So let's show this one. Let's show this one. And let's not show that one. And everything else, right? And you can actually even say, you know what, I want to make this one down here, and we're going to move this one to here, and you can make these changes. And then when you're done, you're done. So that is Cloud CMA. It's a really great program. It's well worth playing around with. Do a CMA on your own house. You know, it's always good to know what your house is really worth. But what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to play around, you'll be able to put properties in, and do, you know, create a presentation so that you're comfortable with it. And then once you're comfortable with it, then do, you know, practice doing the presentation with it. So, but it's important that LAER, we upgraded Cloud CMA and put everything in. So the important things to remember is that when you do sign in, you want to set your account settings, and you want to go in here and you want to make sure that you have LAER Realty Partners as your company, because that will help tie in the branding. You can change your MLS credentials. And right now it's set for Massachusetts, right? I guarantee you tomorrow when I come in, it'll be set for New Hampshire again. So, but all that's here. And then also you can go in and you can look at your old CMAs. So here's this one we just did that we just made changes to, right? And you can click here and you can view the PDF, you can view the live, right? You just click this, it's just going to open the PDF. It's pretty good, pretty straightforward and everything. The other thing is you click here and you can actually copy the link to the PDF or copy the link to the live view if you wanted to send this along. I always recommend that you do your CMAs, your presentations in person and not don't email it to them unless you don't really want the listing. But you're better to do a presentation in front of somebody face to face. If you need to do it, you can do it over Zoom and you can do it with the live view and you can do it that way. But you can also send them, the seller, like if you're going to do a live view and as you're doing the live view, you can send them a PDF link. So all of this is here. And at any time, you can just go back, you can edit, make all the changes, or you can view the PDF or you can view the live view. And you can see it saves all your PDFs, puts them all in here. So that is Cloud CMA. And let me just do a real quick check here and see if we have any comments, any questions. Ooh. There we go. We'll turn off that sound. All right, so I don't see anything there. And let's see what we have here. No questions here. Thank you, Cass. Thank you, Susan, for watching. And again, if you have any more questions, don't be afraid to email happyagent@laerrealty.com. We're always glad to help. So let me just do a stop sharing here. And thank you, everyone. And remember, for any questions, email happyagent@laerrealty.com. Thanks. Bye.